Hi friends, today let's solve AP ESET 2020 question paper and all the problems related to communication systems. So this is the first question related to communication system. What is the ratio of modulating signal voltage to carrier voltage? If you remember the definition of modulation index mu, it is the ratio of modulating signal voltage to carrier voltage. So this is a direct question. So the answer is modulation index. So ratio of amplitude of modulating to signal to carrier signal. Next, when does over modulation occur? So remember, over modulation is simply when your modulation index is greater than 1, and earlier we have discussed mu is am by ac. So if you substitute that here, am by ac must be greater than 1 or am must be greater than ac. If you see this condition, when your modulating signal voltage is greater than the carrier voltage, you have over modulation. Next, for 100% modulation, the power in each sideband is, if you remember the formula, pt is equal to pc into 1 plus mu square by 2. Simply observe, he is giving 100% modulation. 100% modulation means mu is simply 1. So for 100% modulation, if you observe, pt is equal to pc into 1 plus 1 by 2. And if you observe, this is carrier power and this is sideband power. So you have two sidebands, upper sideband and lower sideband. So if you remember the diagram, fc plus fm, fc minus fm and fc are the three components, and he is asking the power in each sideband is, so half 1 by 2 divided by 1 by 2 by 2 is 1 by 4. So you have 1/4 power in upper sideband and 1/4 power in lower sideband. So the answer is 25%. Next, what is the disadvantage of FM over AM? So what is the bandwidth in AM? In AM, the bandwidth is simply 2 times the maximum frequency, whereas in case of FM, the bandwidth is, as per Carson's rule, 2 FM into beta plus 1. So here you have bandwidth as an extra factor. So if you see the options, it will be requiring larger bandwidth on comparison with, so the FM bandwidth practically is infinite, it is always greater than AM bandwidth. Next, audio frequency range. So simply remember the human audible range. Humans can hear only frequencies ranging from 20 hertz to 20 kilohertz. So any voice less than 20 hertz is called infrasound, whereas any voice greater than 20 kilohertz is called ultrasound. So we can only hear this particular range. So answer is audible range is this. Next, signal to quantization noise in PCM system depends upon. So if you remember, the signal to quantization noise in a PCM is given by the formula 6n plus 1.76 decibels. Here n is the quantization number of bits in pulse code modulation. So simply based on the value of n or the number of quantization levels, you will be having the signal to quantization noise. Remember this formula. In exam sometimes they will be giving the number of quantization levels, then the signal to noise ratio, what is it? 6 into 3, which is simply 18 decibel units plus 1.76 dB. Next, what is aliasing? So aliasing is simply an effect that causes different signals to become undistinguishable or indistinguishable. So simply remember, when your sampling signal is less than Nyquist rate, generally only sampling when you have this condition satisfied, which is called Nyquist theorem, signal reproduction will be happening properly. If you have the value less than it, you get this concept of aliasing, and aliasing, as I said, you cannot distinguish the signal. Next, what is the standard intermediate frequency used in AM receiver? So the standard frequency is 455 kilohertz. So the local oscillator and image frequency will be having a difference which is called intermediate frequency. This value is 455 kilohertz. Similarly, your desired station will be having a difference which is also IF, which is 455 kilohertz. So for AM it is, remember the values, for AM it is 455 kilohertz, and for FM it is 10.7 megahertz. So for satellite communication it will be around 70 megahertz. Remember this. Whereas for television communication this will be approximately in the range of 38 megahertz to 45 megahertz. Remember the values. So which of the following statement is true with respect to multiplexing? So basically, what exactly is a multiplexer? A multiplexer is a device which will be allowing several analog signals, analog or digital signals, input signals basically, which are selected and transmission of this input in a single medium to an output is happening in case of a multiplexer. So if you see the options, it is used to combine multiple data streams over a single data channel. So you have the concept of selection lines to select which particular input you have to want to send it to the output. Next, so which antenna does not use the ground? Remember, Yagi Uda antenna is a dipole antenna which will not use ground. It will be having parasitic elements, remember, and this will not be using the ground wave. Next, which of the modes of propagation are supported by rectangular waveguide? So a rectangular waveguide generally supports both TE and TM modes, but it will not propagate TEM mode because in case of a transverse electric mode, both fields are oriented perpendicular to direction of traveling. So TEM mode is only possible with two conductors, but it is not existing in case of a waveguide. So if you see, TEM mode is not supported in a rectangular waveguide. Simply remember this particular point. Next, so the lowest mode in case of a TM wave propagation. So TM wave propagation lowest mode is simply TM11. So this is the lowest mode having the values M and N. Remember, you will not be having TM01 and TM10. These modes will never exist. Okay. So see the options. This is not there. This is not there. This is not practically possible. Next, single cavity klystron tube that operates as an oscillator by using reflector electrode after the cavity is, you have to remember, this is simply a reflex klystron. So I will show you. So see this, a reflex klystron will be having anode and cathode and the heating element along with grid gaps. So remember the block diagram, you will be having an RF output from this particular cavity. Okay. So single cavity klystron tube that operates as an oscillator by using reflector electrode after cavity is reflex klystron. Next, the transmitter receiver combination in a satellite is called, basically if you have both transmitter and receiver, it corresponds to a transponder. Remember this, the transmitter receiver combination in a satellite is known as transponder. Next, why are very high frequency, ultra high frequency and microwave signals used in satellite communication? So these particular VHF, UHF and microwave, these penetrate through ionosphere with low or no attenuation. So there will be no attenuation for this, and they are not refracted to earth. Remember this point also. However, lower frequencies will generally undergo total internal reflection and they also get reflected. Therefore, remember, they are not diffracted in the ionosphere is one basic reason why we have these signals used in satellite communication. So in ionosphere, if you have a frequency of 0.1 to 30 megahertz, as the frequency increases, refraction will be very less. Remember this point. Next, multimode step index fiber. So what exactly is multimode? Multimode step index fiber will be having larger core diameter and larger numerical aperture. This is one basic feature of your multimode fiber. So these parameters will be providing efficient coupling and inherent light sources such as LEDs will be helping this. So also remember, multimode, it will be having large core diameter and large numerical aperture, and you will be having a bandwidth approximately 6 to 50 megahertz. So I want to show you another diagram which is very important. So see this, how waves get traveled in this multimode and how waves get traveled in case of a graded index, and how wave gets traveled in a single mode, and how exactly the index profile looks. Remember these particular points. So with this, the concept questions related to ECET communications are completed.